Hi, I'm Alistair McIntyre of Electric Scotland, and I got in a wee story today which I actually loved, and I've actually put it up in our Electric Scotland community for people to read, but I thought it needed a wee bit wider audience, and so what I thought I would do was actually read you the story and hope you might enjoy it. The story is about John Paul Jones, the father of the American Navy, and here's the story I was sent in. 2 days after Independence Day and the birth date of the Scotsman known as Father of the American Navy, John Paul Jones was arguably not the true father of the US Navy. He joined only as second in command of one of the USN's first ships in December 1775. The Navy's originators were arguably the members of the Rhode Island Assembly, who passed a motion in August 1775 calling for building, at the continental expense, a fleet of sufficient force for the protection of these colonies and for employing them in such a manner and places as will most effectively annoy our enemies. Why then was his body repatriated in 1905 to the US with full military honours, and why is his tomb still guarded today by cadets from the US Naval Academy? The answer, of course, is that what he did during the War for Independence was so audacious that his character has imprinted itself on the USN's consciousness, like Nelson did later for the Royal Navy. Unlike in the UK, though, the USN retains a special place in the nation's consciousness. It is the armed service which first declared American independence directly to Europe and continues to define American might abroad. That declaration of independence was thanks to the personal willpower and daring of John Paul Jones, who, by now a commander, took his ship, USS Ranger, across the Atlantic to strike Great Britain in its home waters. Leaving America in November 1777 for a base in France, Ranger raided Whitehaven and the Solway Firth, with his first war cruise culminating in the capture of HMS Drake in April 1778. Greater was to come, though. On 23rd of September 1779, this time in command of the 42-gun USS Bornholm Richard off Flamborough Head on the east coast of England, he uttered the immortal words, "I have not yet begun to fight," when asked by the captain of the 50-gun HMS Serapis if he had surrendered, as the Bornholm Richard began to sink and his subordinates decided to lower the American flag. Taking charge and rousing the crew in a do-or-die response, he turned around the course of battle, which ended with the surrender of the Serapis. John Paul Jones's naval campaign in British home waters did not win the military contests in the way that Trafalgar in 1805 demarcated the Napoleonic War, but it did define the birth of a nation and showed to the old world on their doorstep that America was ready and willing to fight for its future. For that reason, he had entered US mythology. It is no mistake that the names of the two ships with which he won glory have been reused to pass some of that honour onto later ships embodying American might abroad. As a Scot, John Paul Jones was able to look beyond narrow sectarian interest and see the greater principles of freedom and self-rule at stake. He gave his best years to America for that cause. Those bonds created across the Atlantic in the 1770s still count today, and will count even more if Scotland follows America in 2014. There you go, and I hope you enjoyed the story.